Welcome back to the Legend of Heroes Trails through Daybreak, where we last time arrived in front of the Basel Institute of Science and wanted to investigate the story with the abusive professor here and be a bit sly about it because this could get us into trouble. I thought Athena might be here by now, but nope, no sign of her. She's a shy one, is the thing. I was hoping it could go smoothly since the high-ups are all on board with it, but evidently not. I get she's nervous, but really, there's nothing for her to worry about. She just needs to relax. Though she did say she was working on some other project too. Maybe she's just really busy? That was the girl who gave us the holocore.
This campus is just as big as I expected.
Let's take a look around. Gotta check out all the spots that kid mentioned.
Welcome to the Basel Institute of Science. Are you here to speak with the researchers or students here? We are a bit busier than usual, partners. We have a number of students visiting at the moment. But if there's anything I can help you with, please do let me know. Okay. Oh, I remember seeing you at the Opal Cafe in Edith. I live over here in Basel. Didn't expect to see you here too. My family lives over in the capital, so I'm out there a lot, both to visit them and to do my civil engineering research. I'll be cooped up here for a while though. I've got a big paper to finish up. She's a student here. I should try talking to her.
Let me ask you something.
A professor abusing their authority, you say? That's a bit of a stretch to me, not gonna lie. I can say for certain that Professor Klondike and Professor Tyne would never do that. It can't be them. Oh, what makes you so sure of that? Well, so Professor Klondike's a man of few words, so he can come across as kinda scary. But he means well, really. I mean, he's one of the greatest minds in our time. He lives and breathes science. And then Professor Tyne is just really friendly to everybody. He's always looking out for people. He's known the world over for his work in civil engineering and urban planning. The Basel Institute of Science certainly earns this reputation. Its faculty are all accomplished scientists and engineers in their own right. Yep, lots of famous people come to study and lecture here. Professor Callaghan's a real celebrity too. He's a real whiz when it comes to mechanical engineering. He's the brain behind the military's new weapons. Last I heard though, his new big proposal got shot down in favor of someone else's. Didn't really take that very well. But he's bounced back from what I can tell. He's really putting us all into this new project. I'm really humbled to get to work with so many hardworking and talented people. Hardworking and talented people can still be assholes. Are they good people is what we're asking. Could you maybe phrase that a little less aggressively? Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. You were a big help. It's such a shame the wonders of fungi go unrecognized. I've been trying to secure funding for my research, but to no avail. I swear my lab is the only one in the entire biochem building that gets to so routinely snubbed. What gives? Professor Esmeray, Professor O'Reilly, they're just swimming in grants. But the limitless potential of fungi goes untapped for another day. Woe is me. Different sales pitch, maybe?
Everybody's gotta eat, right?
Hello then, welcome to my kitchen. Everybody loves the food we serve here, or at least I thought we did, but we have had one poorly looking diner recently. He works in a special research building, and he's been eating a lot less lately. He looks terrible. He and his assistants always used to have these voracious appetites too. What happened to them?
What'll it be for today? Thanks a bunch. What'll it be for today? Thanks a bunch.
Special research, huh? Professor Concrete's thesis are like these windows into the future. It's crazy just how smart he is. His foresight really helps him get ahead of a curve and develop new technologies before people even realize they need them. I doubt I'll ever be half a scholar he is, but I really want to learn what I can from him all the same. Dad's factory is a relic of a past. It has nothing to do with me, and I have no reason to cling to it. I wish Dad wasn't so darn stubborn. All I'm saying is that he should be more forward-thinking. But nope, he's always trying to push a factory onto me, trying to tie me down in his old business. Time marches on. If he doesn't get with the times, well, leave him behind. I'll be our students. Oh, hello, everyone. Didn't think I'd run into you all here. We just finished touring the Epstein Foundation and ZCF branches here, so now we're taking a brief tour of the Institute. There's really not much we can do, though, since we can't attend any of the lectures here. Being honest, it's rather boring. Boring for you, maybe. You sound like you already know about a lot of the stuff here. We're not as encyclopedic as you know. All this Epstein and ZCF stuff is brand new to me. She's just full of secrets, isn't she? But hey, we've got to see and learn some really cool stuff because of it. Wen said she might have something extra special for us after we're done here, too. Might is a keyword, might. I can't make any promises. What does she mean by that? Beats me, I'm not too worried about her. Let her do her thing and us do ours. The Epstein Foundation was really something special. We got to hear lots of interesting stories at the ZCF branch too. Wen said that her best friend works there even. She has so many of those connections, it's really mysterious. But hey, I'm not complaining. So, how is everything been going on your end, Agnes? If it all gets to be too much, you can join back up with us, okay? Miss Perfect is Miss Popular too, huh? Thanks, Albert, but I'm fine right now, honestly. Well, alright, glad to hear that. He did promise me earlier, but I can't guarantee it'll happen just yet. You never know with how plans can change. Still, I can hardly think of a place in Basel I'm more interested in, so it's worth a shot. Moritz? Success! That was a super quick reaction there. Way quicker than I expected. That bodes well. It means it's even more flammable than I first thought. I got a winner on my hands. Just gonna take a swig of my special juice to recharge, and I'll be right back in action. Moritz produces a vial of something from his coat pocket and downed it in with gusto. Oh yeah, I can feel myself supercharging. Hey, what are you looking at me like that for? Controlled substance? Psh, no worries there. Can't be controlled if it's not for human consumption in the first place. I'm onto something with this, I swear. It's a perfect pick-me-up after my explosion tests. It was meant to be, I tell you. What's Professor O'Reilly's problem? I asked to study under her and she dismisses me like you're just an arsonist in a lab coat. But what's wrong with that? It's art! What's more beautiful than great balls of fire? That's what chemistry boils down to. It's the subtle art of making things go boom. Surely a fellow chemist would understand that. Bah! Yeah? This story leads to the special research building. They do a lot of top secret research in there, so it's close to the general public. Seems this building requires a higher security clearance than the rest of the city. Top secret, huh? Sounds like a perfect place to harass your co-workers and get away with it. Wouldn't jump to conclusions, but yeah, it's worth looking into. Let's just go around and see what the people around here know. I work as an assistant in Professor Achet's lab over there. I've noticed some troubling things coming out of the other labs though. This one woman, she looked absolutely drained every day. I wish there was something I could do to help her, but I really shouldn't be butting into other labs' business. Just hope she has someone she can talk to, be the co-worker, a professor, or someone else. That's a bit fishy there, might as well ask him about that.
Can we talk?
Workplace harassment, goodness. I've heard these bits and pieces, but I'm just a bit nervous to talk about it. You won't tell anyone, don't worry. Anything helps. I've heard loud shouting from one of the other labs, yes. It stunned me out of the work I was doing. I heard stuff like, you idiots, can't you do anything right? And you're a disgrace to the institute, get out! He's just lashing out at everything and everyone now. It's really disturbing. Which professor was doing that? I just can't say sorry. If they find it out it was me, I'd have hell to pay. It really is gnawing at me. The abuse is only getting worse and worse from what I'm told. I've heard the works: fatigue, depression, exhaustion, even a couple of researchers fainting on the job. The whole department looks visibly shaken these days. The stress is just too much for them. I worry they all end up like Cindy. Cindy, what happened to her? She's at her breaking point from what I hear. I hardly see her at the Institute anymore. We've all been trying to support her however we can, but it's rough. It really is. Damn, yeah, that's not good. Who's the professor helping her, out of curiosity? That would be Professor Esmeray. She's in the bioengineering department. She's known the world over for her cutting-edge research. A real upstanding woman. She's always up to her neck in her own work, though. She probably doesn't know the extent of the abuse at the other labs. Yeah, thanks for filling us in. This will help us a lot. Can't go here.
The breeze here feels so nice.
Well...
One of my papers was published in the scientific journal Formula last month. It was about a hypothetical social experiment where you gather big data from personal computers and use data science to crunch the numbers. I'm honored that the scientific community received it so well. Even Professor Cronkite gave it a thumbs up. I still want to explore the concept some more though. I really want to use one of the giant orbital calculators they have in the labs here. I just can't. That really grinds my gears. Professor Callaghan's kind of freaking me out nowadays. All the other professors say he's a really nice guy though. They talked about how he used to help mentor younger researchers at the Institute. Are they really talking about the same guy though? All I get from him are evil glares like he's fed up with me already. Sheesh.
Well...
I worry for her, I really do. I just don't have a time to check up on her. Next time I see her, I think I recommend her these vitamins I like. I was on the advisory board for them actually. I do worry about how she's the only woman on her team. Don't want her to feel afraid to speak her mind on things. Other team? Oh man, the Epstein tour was out of this world. I got to see some vintage memory cards in there. How far we've come, huh? I didn't know that photos and videos were first developed for astronomy, but soon enough it branched out into other things and that led to orbital films as we know them today. It's just so cool to see how the medium took off. Glad to hear you're having fun. You bet. I know you're busy with work and all, but you should see the sights yourself, Agnes. I heard the Institute has the largest astral observatory in all of Calvert. I really want to go and see that now. Would we even be allowed inside though? Yo, Julian, did you get a look at that researcher who just walked by? She was a total knockout. She had that sciencey look to her with a glass in her messed up hair. It's not just me dreaming, is it? We've gotta be a match. Huh? Sorry, but I have no idea what you're going on about. Is she more beautiful than the aerotram attendant you were fawning over half an hour ago? Dude, everybody is a 10. There's something about this town, I swear. It's awakening something in me. Lyle, maybe quit while you're ahead? I always assumed the Institute was full of dudes. Didn't know there'd be so many chicks here too, and man, some of them are bombshells. Alright, let's settle this. I'm applying to this place. I've heard much about the Institute of Science, and I must say, it does live up to its reputation. It's the highest seat of learning in Calvert after all. You have many of the country's brightest minds all under one roof. We won't be able to see the entire thing in one trip, but I hope we can at least catch the highlights over here. Oh, you're the guys who helped test my holocore. Thank you, the data you gave out really helped a lot. I work with signals and communications. My project right now studies how they're used in ciphers. I was really honored, honestly. Being able to work alongside Professor Cronkite was just so... You're welcome. You got a holocore out of this.
Theoretically speaking.
Network engineering is my forte, and I do a lot of work with civil engineering guys too. Earthquake resistance, grid planning, that sort of thing. Professor Callaghan in particular, he's been a big help to me. He's been awfully irritable lately, but he's a good person deep down. Maybe he just needs a drink or two to unwind. If you need anything from me, I'll just be reading here. We have plenty of papers here, though I don't know enough about them to make any recommendations. Do handle them with care, though. They are very important papers. Sounds like plenty of students and faculty come his way. That tracks. Maybe he's overheard a word or two about the allegations.
Let me ask you something.
Ah, a power-tripping professor, you say, huh? Well, if it were anybody, I'd put my money on Cronkite. He's awfully quick to dismiss people, haughty in a word. Kind and helpful aren't exactly synonymous with him, at least from what I've seen or heard. Let's see, have you heard anything about any of the other professors that might relate to these allegations? Let me think now. Well, I can't see Professor Aurelie doing anything like that. She's just a bundle of sunshine, not a mean bone in her body. Sometimes I even see her in here picking up research materials for her students. Then there's Professor Callaghan. He's always made a point of helping out his assistants. He's certainly not a bad person in my view, but he's gotten a bit of a bad rep after his work went south. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. We greatly appreciate it. Alright, I think we combed this area over pretty well now. Let's go sit down somewhere and try piecing things together. I recommend that open space at the front of the institute ground. I saw some benches there that we could use. Sounds like a plan to me. Alright, we're about ready to sit down and get cracking. Well, that was pretty good. We got our hands on some nice info there. We learned a lot of professors' names too. There's Professor Callaghan, the Engineering Science Authority, Professor Aurelie in the Chemistry Department, Professor Cronkite, a well-respected expert in physics and orbital engineering, Professor Tyne, an architectural researcher. And then one Professor Esmeray over in Bio. They all sounded really capable, but of course the stat sheet don't tell the whole story. They all sounded like oddballs in their own right. I think we can pretty safely narrow the perp down to one of those 5. I agree. We have pretty strong evidence to suggest that. Alright, let's take our evidence from the top then. All the people we talked to, all the testimonies, they had one thing in common. I see what you mean. They didn't name the abuser. Not a single one named the culprit. Some of those guys knew who it was, but it kept sounding like they were too scared to name him. Would have made our job a hell of a lot easier if I just named the guy, but nope. Yeah, now that you mention it, that is kinda weird. I can understand not wanting to be labeled a snitch, but it felt like there was more to it than that. They were afraid of a culprit, but you could tell they respected them too. They didn't want to sully this professor's good name. And some people said the guy wasn't always like that. Something changed them. Probably the conflict over that proposal we heard about. Something about hard feelings. That one guy said they had a crunch after the proposal fell through. Telltale signs of abuse for me. That does seem likely, though we can't say for certain what changed the professor's behavior. There would be a reasonable explanation. That said, no circumstance justified such an abuse of power and status. This professor is truly incorrigible. So that's who you think the culprit is? Yeah, you asked me, there's only one professor who fits the bill. Callaghan. Professor Callaghan's our guy. He's one of the foremost authorities on engineering science, perhaps the smartest man in the whole field. I've seen him in the papers plenty of times before. He's always described as a savant. Notably, he's helped modernize the military's weapons and equipment. But he's got revenge on the mind, sounds like. Some other professor one-upped him and that's got him pissed. I get it sucks, but you'd think a world-renowned scientist would be less childish about it. You'd know a thing or two about acting like a child, wouldn't you? I don't know, you usually call me Grandpa, which is it, but... Is now the time? So, what do we do now? We have all the recordings of the people we talked to. That all points to Professor Callaghan being the suspect. So, what's our next move? Do we hunt down our client next and give him the tapes? Nah, I'm thinking we get Professor Callaghan's opinion on it without accusing him directly. We nudge him in the right direction and he might just turn himself in. What do you mean? Simple, we tell him about these abuse rumors going around. We talk about all these exhausted students and he connects the dots on his own. Failing that, well, we already know it's him. He's bound to figure out his reputation's on the line the more he hears about this. If he's smart, he'll fess up. So that's what we do. We give him a subtle little nudge and he does all the work, as I wanted for us. 2 birds with 1 stone right there. That sounds really... scheming. I'm not so sure we have a good guys all of a sudden. Well, it is a quintessentially Spriggan-like way of solving our problem. Fine by me. To the Power Tipper's lab then? Actually, where is it? I don't remember seeing it when we were taking our tour. I suspect it's in a special research building. We need some form of clearance to enter, of course. We passed by a door with a guard in front earlier. We won't let any ordinary civilian inside. I suspect we would need an A rank card at the very least. It was hard enough for us to get a C rank card. I think getting an A rank one is off the table. What should we do then? Maybe wait for him to leave a building and ambush him? Nah, old Van's a man with a plan. All that matters is that we get inside the building. Doesn't matter how we do it. And being a Spriggan, I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. Van, you're kinda scaring me with that smile there. We defer to you. What's the strategy, Master Spriggan? So first, we just roll on up to the building like anybody else would. Once we get there, we convince the guard to let us in. Just act naturally and we're golden. If a guard is worth his pay, then that won't work. Excuse me, is this where we can find Professor Callaghan? We're here to speak with him. Right, yes. May I see your card, sir? Of course. C-Rank, I'm sorry, but I can't let you in without a proper security clearance. If you don't mind me asking, what business do we have with him to begin with? Glad you asked. We're here on behalf of the Principality of Elsaim. We figured there was an appointment for us, but we just now found out they didn't set anything up. Sorry for the inconvenience. We wanted to inquire about Professor Callaghan's new research. It's caught our investors' interest. Its findings have seismic implications. Even the Cypher's revolution would be small potatoes compared to this. So we looked into meeting with him and collaborating on his research. Only learned that Marduk was interested in the same thing. So now we've got ourselves a freeway partnership here. I'm here on the Mado company's behalf. I'm a concierge in their employ. So you're meeting with him to discuss a grant, is that right? I'm a bit surprised to hear both El Saim and Marduk are collaborating on this, but well, strange things have happened, I guess. I apologize for the inconvenience. That said, who are these children of you? Surely they're not employees. Pardon. I'm not a kid, I'm just short. They're associates of an El Saim VIP, pardon them. They're here on El Saim's behalf as well, so they were looking to sit in on our meeting. This is a little awkward though, we came all the way from SM just to get turned away at the door on a technicality. I'm not sure what to tell them when we get back home. I really am sorry, there's clearly been some kind of mix-up here. The arrangement might have been lost in the shuffle with all the Aramis students visiting. You must have been issued the same rank card as them by mistake. I'll go clear this up with Professor Callaghan. 1 minute please. Of course, we'll be waiting. You sure you're okay with him calling your bluff? Of course. Who's he to turn down grant money? That ain't what we're really here for. But he just has to take the bait. Thank you for your patience. The professor would like to meet with you at once. Go right in. Thank you very much. I can't believe you managed to deceive your way past someone again. Hey, nothing I said was a lie. Not my fault if someone else takes what I said the wrong way. Bet you tell yourself that every single time, huh? Yeah, you must be a real pro at this. I mean, it's not something to be proud of. As your sudden embarrassment suggests. I wish you would at least stop to think about the bad influence you might be having on Ferry.
So you're trying to blame all of this on me, are you?
Not at all. I'm in no way trying to suggest your latest research is the cause. If anything, the approach you're taking with your latest project rather fascinates me.
Does it now?
That being said, work on my own project has reached a critical juncture. I cannot afford any issues with net traffic at this time.
That certainly sounds like blame to me, Cronkite. You may be one of Professor Hamilton's students, but that doesn't give you the right to...
So sorry for the delay. Oh. Who the devil are you? This is a restricted area, you know? Not to worry, we have permission to be here. Could either you direct us to Professor David Callaghan's office? Ah, so you're the ones I just heard about? You have finished your Cronkite. Now, if you would all follow me. Young, Professors Cronkite and Callaghan? Huh? Funny running to you guys here. Whoops. We could say the same thing. Mr. Arkwright, do you have business here? Gotcha. What are you doing here, Salesian? And who are these people with you? They're students here on an educational visitation from the capital. I've been assisting them during their stay. Professor Cronkite was gracious enough to extend us an invitation to visit him when we happened to see each other in town, so we asked Mr. Salesian if he could lead the way. I do not believe I invited anyone but you, nor did I imply we should meet quite this soon. But I suppose chasing you away here would be more work than just humoring you. Very well, follow me. Really? It would be nothing short of incredible to see your work up close, Professor Cronkite. Huh. Well, we'll get out of your hair then. We apologize for the interruption. I can see that you're very busy, but it would be a pleasure to speak more on another occasion, Professor Callaghan. Oh, I suppose that can be arranged. It must be nice to have enough free time to spend on such frivolous nonsense as educational visitations. Well, come with me. I want to make this brief. Of course, Professor.
Wait! I'd like to listen in on this conversation too, if you don't mind. As their guide, I suspect it has everything to do with me.
Take a 10-minute break. Do not return late.
Yes, Professor. Excuse us. Professor David Callaghan.
As you know, my name is David Callahan. I believe you're here to talk about Elsyme and Marduk investing in my research. That makes for a very interesting combination, if you don't mind me saying. What exactly led to this?
Is that what you were told? There seems to be a misunderstanding then. We are currently working for Elsyme and we do have a Marduk employee with us, but that's all. What? We're currently in the middle of an investigation, you see, and a lead happened to bring us here. Wanted to follow up on a rumor that some extreme abuse of power has been taking place in a laboratory here. Huh? That's the face of a guy who's got something to tell. Who asked you to investigate this? Couldn't tell you, didn't leave a name, but they did tell us all about what's been happening. We've heard all about the ridiculous workloads and insane hours they and their colleagues have been forced to endure. About how they're never allowed any rest, are woefully underpaid, and how they receive vicious, constant verbal abuse from their superior. Even to the point that someone collapsed from overwork has been driven to the brink of suicide. That's just... We have all the testimony and evidence we need to act if that's what it comes to. But we thought it better to come and hear your thoughts first. Excuse me? It's not too late to turn things around. So many people who spoke of were quick to say that you weren't always like this. They mentioned how they almost had trouble believing just what you'd become. We could see how afraid people are of you now, how they dislike what you've become, but at the same time we could see how deeply they respect you too. We're not heroes of justice like the cops or the guild. We're just about finding common ground and putting things to right. As long as you're willing to work with us, we can... That's enough! Don't talk to me about respect and then immediately resort to blackmail. I cannot believe one of my assistants would try to set me up like this. Unbelievable! Give him a golden chance to help me obtain glory beyond your imagination, and this is how they choose to repay me? How could you say that? You know, we've got evidence of what you're doing, right? So we want to pick this fight? Do what you will with your evidence. All I have to do is cover it up. No one's going to believe some lowly assistant of an esteemed professor. Professor? I'm one, no. 2 mere steps away from completing my research, and they pick now to sabotage my efforts? Very well. Then damn the human cost. I'll start working them to the bone to make up for their...
Just listen to yourself, Professor. What has gotten into you? You used to be so kind and supportive. Professor Hamilton held you in such high regard. Even though I was one of her students, you would still take the time to look after me. I just can't understand why all you do lately is spit in the face of her achievements.
Cut. I suspected as much.
Sorry. That's a private matter between us. But please, at least stop and think about how you're treating the people who work under you. They took their positions because they dreamed of being like you. Don't belittle them or their work.
Salesian. Don't tell me what I can and can't do, you third-rate apprentice!
Cutter, what do you think you're doing? Listen, asshole.
You're talking to the famous David Callahan, the preeminent scholar of engineering science and military technology, who has long upheld the very foundation of this nation's national defense. I've had enough of youngsters like Cronkite and Esmeralda acting like they're above me after all I've achieved. My latest research will propel Calvert to even greater heights, change the power balance of the entire continent. Why can no one understand just how much of a privilege it is to help with that?
Professor.
Well, you're free to have whatever lofty goals you want. But I think we have had our 10 minutes, don't you? Oh. We came here to explain the situation and offer a solution we thought would benefit everyone. You're welcome to try and cover up all the evidence and testimonies we gathered. But I promise you, it ain't gonna be easy. If you're as close to this revolution as you claim to be, then I'd give it another thinking through if I were you. I'm done wasting time with you. I will be raising the issue of your illegal trespassing and appalling brazenness with Mr. Thousand. I admit that I may have been a little too harsh, but as long as you intend to cling to Professor Hamilton instead of aiming for something more, I have no interest in you. Unless you now see the benefits of developing your talents under me after all. I would wager it would be far better use of your time than waiting like a little girl for an old woman who's long gone. Excuse me. Cutter! Pardon us.
Like a little girl.
There you are.
So this is what it looks like inside, huh?
It's so cool seeing the observatory. Is that the telescope?
That's right. Professor Hamilton had it specially made.
I'm sorry you had to witness that earlier, but I'm impressed you knew where to find me. Just had a feeling. We're happy to forget what we saw as long as you forget about us forcing our way into the research building. Fun, behave. You can go ahead and have a seat over there. I'll go make us some tea. So, there aren't actually any astronomy professors here? Not at the moment. I'm the only one who comes here every day right now. But there was a time when quite a few researchers and students who all adored Professor Hamilton would come. Even Professor Callahan would from time to time. Oh. He never used to be like he is now. He's always seen Professor Hamilton as a rival, sure. But it used to be a friendly kind of rivalry that was beneficial to both sides. He taught me so much too. He really must have changed then. Yeah, from that to the uptight, abusive asshole we saw earlier, some kind of fall. Professor Hamilton left the Republic 2 years ago, if I recall. And you're one of her students? That's right, I owe more to her than I can ever hope to repay. I've been looking after the observatory and her house since she left the country. Though I think it's debatable whether I'm doing a good job of it. The CEO of Vern, Mr. Towson, is also one of the directors on the Institute's board. And he told me that he's considering shutting this place down because so few people are using it. Oh no. So that's why you've been doing all kinds of miscellaneous tasks to score points with him? That's awful. I really am sorry about earlier though. I ended up interfering in your investigation by jumping in, didn't I? If I hadn't said anything... Don't sweat it, we ended up getting some useful info out of that whole outburst. My guess is you've noticed this by now too. But his piss-poor attitude isn't the only bad thing going on with him. You really think so? I have the same feeling. It would explain why someone so respected has stooped to such irrational behavior. Feels like a question is, what is he trying to do that he's willing to go so far off a deep end for it? The computer hardware in this laboratory was state-of-the-art. I suspect he's using it to perform vast calculations. The kind that would be equally difficult to properly manage? I agree. I've never seen a simulation of this extent before, and it seemed even that wasn't getting the results he wanted. He could be... No, but that would... I see now. Well, we'd better keep an eye on that guy for a while. We ain't in Basel for a long time. We're gonna be here for the next couple days at least. Feels like we can afford to scratch each other's backs a bit, yeah? Whether that CEO wants us to or not. Alright, I do have my doubts about you, but I believe that Agnes is worthy of my trust. So if anything comes up, I'll be sure to let you know. To keep what the professor left behind safe, if nothing else. Nothing comes from not being honest with yourself, you know? We'll be counting on you, Cutter. Sure seems like he's being honest with himself to me, but trusting you is the right call. Oh, you're very much on the same board with how boorish you are. Excuse me? You're trying to pick a fight, kiddo? That's only proving my point, you know? Are you interested in the telescope? I was just wondering what it's like, that's all. It's only just past 5 o'clock, so we won't be getting a great view of the stars quite yet. But come with me. You still might be able to get a good view of a great shadow triangle. Really? Yay! Aww. Cause the two kids of a group would hit it off. You're also still a damn kid from my perspective. By the way, Agnes, was it just me or did you seem surprised by something when the professor was shouting up a storm? It wasn't just you. I cannot believe one of my assistants would try to set me up like this. Unbelievable. I give him a golden chance to help me obtain glory beyond your wildest imagination, and this is how they choose to repay me? So it picked then of all times to shine? It's not doing it now though. Do you think it could have been a coincidence? You gotta wonder. Not like it would be the first time it's shown at an odd time. Like when we first went into Grimcat.
Whoa! What's this room for? Odette? What brings you all here? Found you! We've been looking for all of you. We couldn't find you anywhere in the main building, so we wondered if you might be here.
Sorry for putting you guys out.
Well, not all of us are here for you. So this is their giant telescope. I've seen one in the Imperial Museum too, but it's so cool.
Oh! Can we take a look through it?
It's nice seeing this place this lively again. It's been so long.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll be going back to our hotel now. Sure thing, try not to stay up too late just cause no one's keeping an eye on you. That telescope was amazing, well, wasn't it? I wish you could have had another look through it before we left. How about you come and walk around with us some on the last day, Fairy? We'd love to have you. Really? Your work sounds amazing, so I'd like that a lot. I just leave playtime to the kids then. I'm more in the market for a place catered to adults. Hell, you wanna join me in on a fun for I would never go to such a place. That sounds like be kind of fun in its own way. It was nice to finally meet the famous Rosette too. Maybe we could talk some more another... Oh yes, I would like that very much indeed. Yay! Then it's happening! Did you notice? Yeah, you managed to learn anything on your end? I'm afraid not. We heard something interesting from the genius professor, but that's about it. I'm not going to have much free time here, however, so I'm going to have to leave it to that nose of yours this time. Dumping all the work on me, huh? Great. Here's the tram. Then we bid you all farewell. I should be able to meet you tomorrow morning at around 8 o'clock. I know it's a little early for good night, but I hope you all have one regardless. Same to you. See you tomorrow. Sleep tight. So what's eating away at you, phony mate?
Huh?
Something up? Can't hide a thing from him.
I should have realized I wouldn't be able to keep my concerns a secret. To tell you the truth, I'm getting a peculiar sense of déjà vu from what's happening here in Basel.
Deja vu? But your main job's being a concierge, but you also handle crisis management all over the country, right? So which does this orbital net and distribution network issue make you think of more? Libel 6 years ago or Crossbow 4 years ago?
You're proving perceptive and knowledgeable beyond belief.
I'm sure I've heard both of these things before, but... yeah, I think Zhao mentioned them at some point too. The former was when all overpower was shut off by the appearance of an ancient floating city. The latter was when the orbital network was used to perform a man-made miracle. I never witnessed them firsthand, so there's a lot of gaps in what I know. But both are caused by things you wouldn't think could exist. Man, I'd think you'd made both events up if I didn't know better. I know what happened a year and a half ago in Crossbam, and that's just as batshit crazy on paper. Oh, when the whole continent was hacked or whatever word was?
I'm afraid I can't answer most of your questions because they would contain classified information. However, I believe this may end with a crisis different from the ones that Mr. Arkwright mentioned.
Huh? Well, Miss Perfect's genitals started glowing again. There's bound to be something. No way this ends without giving us a headache. Yeah, we're going to need to be ready for trouble. You gotta head out somewhere now, right? I'll come with you if you want.
Again, you are perceptive beyond belief.
We might have only met in person recently, but I've known you for a real long time now. Whenever you stumble on a major problem brewing, you gotta report it to HQ, right?
Correct. What is happening here certainly falls under Code E of our regulations. But I see no harm in having someone with me during my report. We could also patrol the area at the same time. Does that sound all right?
More than alright, let's get going. Wait! It's not just you two here, you know? Don't even think of leaving us out. I don't mind taking one of you, but the others gotta have to stay behind. Someone will need to be available if Agnes or that boy we met decide to call. Wait, that makes sense? Fine, then come on. Where are you taking? I take ferry. So, where do you have to go to give your report? Your company's headquarters isn't even in Calvert, is it? There's a bit of a process involved for security reasons. For starters, we need to leave the city toward the canyon. This needn't take priority over any other work you would like to do, however. I see now. Got it. We'll head over once we've walked around a little one. Hold off. So when we are ready, we take the car. Good, but I think I end this episode here, and next time we take a look around in this evening run and see what comes up. Until then, amaze and don't get lost.